Again, thank you so much for joining us here on Idaho Today. You know, you may have heard of the power of numbers. It's a theory that digits can bring balance and peace into your life, and it's a practice that some cultures have been implementing for hundreds of years. We're joined right now by Jessi Kali. He's a world-renowned numerologist to give some insight on how paying attention to numbers just might increase harmony and prosperity in your home. So great to have you join us, Jessi.
Thank you, Mellisa. It's great to be here.
All right, so for those who are not familiar, explain numerology. What is this, and how can it actually play a role in someone's life?
Okay, so numerology, the definition of numerology is the science of numbers. And numerology has many schools, like we all know. There's a tradition by the Greeks, by the Chinese, and then a method by the East Indians. That's where I come from. And then there's a tradition up here in the North America. We use numbers, look at them in different ways. And the Hebrews again. So there are many schools of thoughts on numbers. But what I practice is the Vedic tradition, where we associate numbers and planetary energies. Now, say, for example, basic numerology goes from number 1 to number 9, and then each number has a planetary association with it. Now, say, for example, number 1 is Sun, or 9 is Mars, or 5 is Mercury, or 6 is Venus, or something like that. And so what happens is we start with our date of birth, and from there we pick the best vibrations. And the best vibrations, by which I mean are the best planetary numbers, which could be, numbers. And then the rest is fine tuning. The idea being to harmonize energy, right? We want to harmonize the flow of energy around us, which means the way our names are written or said, the homes where we live, the numbers outside our doors, our business names, our business addresses, the cars that we drive, our phone numbers, in many cases our bank account numbers. Well, social cannot change, but we have numbers everywhere. And so that's what it is, basically.
Wow. Okay. So all of these things then, through numerology, you're saying are kind of, they're either connected in a way, or you can make a choice to make sure that you're aligning properly in all those different areas if you're paying attention to the role that numbers play. Is that kind of how you're saying that navigating this might work to improve someone's quality of life?
That is exactly correct.
Okay, so give some ideas then. How can somebody watching right now, possibly, if they're interested in maybe exploring this further, what's like a baby step? Like, what's one of the first things they can really pay attention to and look at?
Okay, so let me give you my example, Mellisa. I'm born on April the 3rd of some year. And see, so my basic numerology, it goes with numbers 3s and number 9s, which is Jupiter and Mars energy. And so these are the numbers that I use, all around me. I've used because those are my best vibrations. And so if you see my name, Jessi Kali, that's my popular name, or the title of my book, All About Numbers, or The Power of Home Numbers, are kind of is complementary. And then the place where I live is a V27. I've lived in these numbers for many, many years. The color of the car there, I always drive a white car because Mars is happy with Venus energy. So I've harmonized my life around these numbers, and over the years, I've been around for a while, and I've seen this planet, living in the east and the west both, and I've realized how powerful these are. I've realized that the moment you step out and get into different energies or different dates or timings or even months, so what happens? We all have different months that are work for us, it doesn't work for us. See, in my case, with my vibrations, spring and fall, I'm always happy in these seasons, right? Otherwise, right at the beginning of the year, when it's very cold or about in the middle, it shakes my energy, but that doesn't mean it is the same for everybody. So we all have our own imprint with our date of birth. We're all different. And
Jessi, you mentioned that you have a book. So I would love for people, if they're interested, at least to go to that resource. And also, you have an Instagram account and also a website. So share with us, where can we get your book, and how can we follow you on Instagram and find your website?
Excellent. So I have 2 books out. The first book is called All About Numbers, and that came out a couple of years ago. But the second one is The Power of Home Numbers, which talks a lot about street numbers and street addresses. And both these books are available on Amazon, or you could get it through my website, which is jessikali.com, JESSEKALSI.com. And I'm also on Instagram at I am Jessi Kali.
Wonderful. Jessi, thank you so much. I know that we could talk forever about this. There's so much to cover, but I want to drive our viewers to your website so they can learn more. Jessi, again, thank you so much for giving us this very unique and intriguing insight. Greatly appreciate it. You have a great rest of your day.
Thank you, Mellisa. You
All
too.
right. And everyone, stick around. More to come right here on Idaho Today right after the break.